You're a leader who is constantly hearing the value, the necessity of being empathetic, but you suck at it. You're not a feelings type of person. You don't know how to express your own emotions. You don't know how to talk about other people's emotions. It makes you uncomfortable, and it's something you just try to stay away from. Ultimately, you don't know where to start, how to better your practice of empathetic leadership. Well, friend, I'm so glad you stumbled upon this video. Because by the end of it, you're going to know an effective strategy that you can begin putting into practice today that is sure to help you become better and better at showing empathy. Let's get it. In this video, I'm going to first break down an effective strategy that you can employ when you're engaged in a conversation and striving to show empathy. Then, I'm going to address the massive elephant in the room as we think about empathy in a work setting. And lastly, I'm going to leave you with a real-life example on how one leader practices empathy while at the same time inviting her entire team to become more empathetic. It's honestly one of the best, most impactful empathy practices I've ever heard. One of the most effective strategies to increase your ability to practice empathy is to stay curious and communicate understanding. When engaged in a conversation that's right for practicing empathy, and for you, it's probably those conversations that make you feel uncomfortable, stay curious to identify the feelings that individual is experiencing and strive to understand why they're experiencing them. Strive to sense or hear feeling words. And if they're not overtly saying any, you might even ask the question, how did that make you feel? Or how are you feeling about that or about that given situation? And when you hear or you sense one, really strive to understand what has inspired that feeling within that individual. This is really about seeking to understand, and it's really about using your curiosity, remaining curious about the emotions this individual is experiencing and why. What's inspired this within them. And once you feel like you have an understanding of the emotion that they are experiencing and you've replayed that back to them, I sense that you're feeling afraid, that you're feeling frustrated, you're feeling anxious, then follow up with the question, did I get that right? You want to convey that you're not assuming, you're rather stating a hypothesis. As an example, I sense that you're feeling frustrated because your leader isn't acknowledging all of the hard work that you're putting in to the higher ups or the executives in the organization. That will then invite the individual to confirm your understanding or give you additional context because you didn't quite get it right or there's even more that they want to share. Keep listening. Keep striving to understand. Keep listening for those feeling words, those emotion words, playing them back to the individual coupled with your understanding of what has inspired that emotion. And I will say, when you're engaged in this conversation, the urge to give advice, the urge to invite them to think about something else, to start problem solving, is going to be really, really strong. I know this because I feel it so strongly within myself when I'm practicing empathy. Avoid it. Avoid it as best as you can. There's a nursing scholar named Teresa Wiseman who established 4 attributes of empathy that have been repeated, and Brene Brown is actually a really great advocate for this work. And one of those tenets is about staying out of judgment. Withhold judgment. And so often judgment is the precursor to giving advice, telling people what they should be doing, what they should be thinking about. Avoid it. Stay away from judgment. Stay in that mode of curiosity and seeking to understand. By the way, hopefully you're not feeling too uncomfortable and you're interested in learning more and getting more video content. If so, please subscribe, because I do drop videos like this all the time, really focused on delivering you value. So subscribe, make sure you're one of the first to get notified. Okay, let's get back into it. Okay, now let me address the massive elephant that's in this room right now. As we think about you as a leader showing empathy to your employees and to your colleagues, the balancing act. Your employees or your colleagues might be expressing difficult emotions because of the very work that you've asked them to do. So how are you supposed to balance being empathetic with an individual while still challenging and stretching them to deliver their work, to get the work done? I have no idea. Good luck to you. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. Of course, I'm kidding. I do have thoughts. There's certainly a nuance here as we think about the practice of empathy, and I've learned so much from the daring Brené Brown. In truly impactful and effective empathy, rarely does a response make anything better. What truly makes things better in these situations is connection. So sharing empathy with your employees is less about giving advice, sharing a response, or offering your thoughts or words of wisdom, and it's more about simply holding space. Stepping outside of judgment, creating that opportunity to connect. Trust me, connection can still happen even in the face of really challenging and stressful work that you are asking them to deliver. I can remember one of my favorite managers from my time when I worked in corporate and more traditional roles. It was a very challenging individual in that they stretched me outside of my comfort zone. The work plan stayed really, really big, always had a lot of deliverables, but I always felt so comfortable to share what I was struggling with, what I was challenged by. And she was exceptional at just listening, at holding that space and really increasing my level of comfort to sit and share with her, my grievances and what I've been struggling with. And now that I think back to it, I really wasn't looking for any solutions from her because I felt that connection. I really just wanted her to listen. And you know what it did? It actually made me want to deliver my work plan even better. To deliver results for her because I felt so well connected to her. And so that might sound a little nuanced or hard to believe, but I'm telling you it works. When you can share this empathy, simply connecting, holding space, allowing that individual to emote, letting them know they're not alone, and that you're there to hold space and to listen, it creates that connection. You can, of course, alleviate constraints and deprioritize deliverables when it's possible, but strive to keep holding them accountable to delivering their work plan. Both of these things can coexist, remaining connected authentically to your employees while still holding them accountable to the work required of them. Now I want to share with you a team exercise that I learned from a leader of a client that I was working with in the automotive industry. An incredible practice of empathy. So every week during her team meeting, she would start the meeting by going around the room and inviting her employees to share 2 or 3 feelings that they were experiencing in that moment, in that morning, maybe something they experienced over the weekend, or maybe during the past week. And actually within their team room, she had like 50 or 60 different emotions on her whiteboard. So if you couldn't have the language for it, she had a lot of different emotions listed on the board. And I thought this was such an incredible exercise because not only is it allowing and inviting individuals to become more emotionally self-aware, which in many ways is a part of practicing empathy, allowing them to use language to express those emotions, but every single individual that wasn't talking about their 2 or 3 feelings, they were listening. They were listening to those individuals about what the feelings were that they were experiencing and, what had inspired them. And so it was a wonderful practice of empathy. Not only was she able to connect with her employees, but they all connected with one another by going through this team practice. The benefits of this type of an exercise are several. Number 1, it's building the muscle memory for every individual to get comfortable sharing emotions at work. 2, it's providing opportunity for everyone to practice empathy. 3, it's providing the opportunity for you as a leader to remain in tune with the emotional energy of your team and the data required to take action if you need to. And lastly, it creates a regular opportunity for you to practice vulnerability and ultimately nurture authentic connection with your team. So speaking of emotions and sharing those at work, I've got something else for you completely for free. I actually want to gift you a chapter from my best-selling book, Change Enthusiasm: How to Harness the Power of Emotion for Leadership and Success. I want to gift you the introduction to this growth mindset, a mindset that I'm so grateful to see has become a global movement with thousands all over the world putting it into practice. And this mindset is going to arm you to use those more difficult emotions you might be feeling in the workplace or what you might be hearing from others to accelerate your growth. And again, it's completely for free. All you got to do is click on the link below. I want to make sure you have the value, the insights, the research, the data to accelerate your growth through even your most difficult change challenges. I'm Cassandra Worthy. And until we meet again, keep growing and keep rocking. Holy crap, this is a lot of content. I should have known because we're talking about feelings and empathy and being uncomfortable. So follow me now over to part 2 of this video series. I'll see you over there.